They call it the Shadow Fleet. A hidden armada of aging tankers, forged documents, fake identities, and silent journeys. Born from war, shaped by sanctions, and fueled by the one thing Russia must keep: flowing oil. Tonight, we're diving deep into the world's most mysterious maritime operation. A network so vast, so elusive, that entire nations struggle to track it. This is the story of Russia's Shadow Fleet, the invisible armada. When the war in Ukraine began in 2022, the world moved fast. Sanctions weren't just political, they were designed to suffocate Russia's energy lifeline. Price caps, shipping bans, insurance restrictions. The message from the West was clear: Russia's oil must not reach the global market. But Moscow had other plans. Instead of surrendering to the pressure, Russia began piecing together a secret fleet, a fleet that would operate outside the rules, beyond borders, and far from the eyes of Western regulators. This would become known as the Shadow Fleet. So what exactly are these ships? They're often called ghost ships, with no true flag. Many of them are old, over 25 or even 30 years. These are the kind of vessels most companies wouldn't insure, the kind shipyards would normally scrap. But in the Shadow Fleet, they were resurrected. Their ownership is intentionally obscured. A single vessel might be owned by a shell company in Dubai, managed from Hong Kong, insured in India, and flagged under a country like the Comoros or Panama. It's almost impossible to be sure who is really in control. Names change. Flags change. Companies vanish overnight. The identity of a tanker becomes a puzzle with missing pieces. And that is exactly the point. One of the most critical aspects of this operation is how these ships turn invisible. Every commercial vessel is supposed to broadcast its location through something called eyes, an automatic identification system. It's an electronic beacon showing where a ship is and where it's going. But the Shadow Fleet often goes dark. Their eyes is switched off. Their lights are turned off. And just like that, a 300-meter tanker simply vanishes from every global tracking system. Hours later, it might reappear, hundreds of kilometers away. This isn't just suspicious, it's extremely dangerous. One malfunction, one collision in the dark, and you could have the worst oil spill of the decade. So, what happens during those invisible hours? Often, it's one of the Shadow Fleet's riskiest maneuvers. Ship-to-ship transfers. Far from ports, far from oversight, far from any legal authority. Two massive tankers will meet side by side in the middle of the ocean. Russia then pumps millions of barrels of crude from its sanctioned tankers into clean, unflagged, or newly registered vessels. By the time this oil reaches its destination, often in Asia, its origin is nearly impossible to trace. It's essentially industrial-level laundering, not for money, but for oil. These secret operations are happening in specific hotspots around the world, creating what we can call global corridors of darkness. Off the coast of Greece, for instance, the Laconia Gulf has become a nocturnal hub. It's a place where dozens of tankers meet under the moonlight, exchanging oil in total silence. Then there's the Baltic Sea, which has become a major flashpoint. A confrontation erupted when Estonia attempted to inspect a sanctioned tanker. Russia's response: it scrambled warplanes. The message was clear: stay away. The Black Sea is another critical zone. But here, the conflict is even more direct. Ukraine, using its sophisticated naval drones, has actively targeted multiple shadow-linked vessels. They believe these ships are supporting Russia's war logistics. The sea is no longer silent. It has become a battlefield. These dark corridors are not just secretive. They are dangerous and highly contested. With old ships, risky maneuvers, and a complete lack of oversight, accidents are not just possible, they are inevitable. The Shadow Fleet isn't just illegal, it's unstable. There have already been numerous incidents. Some vessels have burned 4 hours off the coast of Asia. Some have grounded on shores, threatening fragile ecosystems. Some have simply vanished beneath the waves, taking their cargo and crews with them. And when disaster strikes, the true problem emerges. No insurance company steps forward to cover the cleanup. No flag state accepts responsibility for the vessel. And the owner, they are nowhere to be found. These ships are environmental time bombs. Experts warn it's only a matter of time before one major catastrophe changes everything. Of course, the West is not just sitting by and watching. The United States, the European Union, and the United Kingdom have all issued escalating warnings and sanctions. As of today, 557 ships have been sanctioned. Maritime service bans have been strengthened. Shell companies have been targeted, and the oil price cap, designed to limit Russia's profits, has been enforced more strictly. But sanctions alone cannot stop a fleet that, by its very nature, refuses to exist on paper. It's a constant game of cat and mouse, with regulators trying to catch ghosts. This brings us to the future of the Shadow Fleet. What happens next? The opinions are divided. Some analysts believe the fleet will grow even larger as the war continues, and as Russia finds new ways to circumvent sanctions. They argue that as long as there is demand for cheap oil, there will be a way to supply it. Others believe that technology will be the key to stopping it. Drones, AI-powered satellite tracking, and improved maritime laws could eventually corner the fleet and force it into collapse. By analyzing satellite imagery and cross-referencing data, authorities can now spot dark activity in ship-to-ship transfers even when a ship's eyes is off. But one truth remains unshakable for now. The world's oceans are home to an invisible empire, a floating network that defies borders, ignores regulations, and carries the lifeblood of a nation at war. The Shadow Fleet is not just a maritime mystery. It is a geopolitical weapon, a ticking environmental risk, and a chilling glimpse into the future of global conflict, where wars are fought not just on land, but in the shadows of the global economy. As long as the lights stay off, as long as the signals stay silent, and as long as the war requires fuel, the Shadow Fleet will continue to sail. Thank you for watching. If you found this deep dive interesting, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more content just like this. See you in the next one.